So it's my honor today to introduce to you Dr. Castro and his team. Dr. Castro? You want me to turn it over to your teammate? Or? Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Gervasio. I'm a vice principal at Waiwa Middle School, and this is my first time being here in Texas, so thank you for the aloha and hospitality here. And like you said, everything's big in Texas, so that's true. Awesome, guys. Hello.
Aloha, my name is Carla De Leon. I'm currently a vice principal at Wahiawa Middle School, and I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Open up our presentation to all you guys. It's our aloha to you guys. So in Hawaiian, we call it aloha ikekai ikekai. Our aloha from the Hawaiian Islands to Texas. Yeah, so as we go, thank you for everything you guys do for us, and mahalo. Thank you.
Okay, and another practice that we do have is called the Aloha Circle. So if we can all stand up, please. And we're going to form an oval down the center. So if you can all stand in an oval down the center, so you can all be together. In our Aloha Circle, we usually do 3 things. We're going to change it a little bit for this session, but usually you talk about your aina, your place. And then you talk about who you bring with you to the conference, because that's a representation of who you are. And then the last thing is your name, because we talk about where you are, where your place, who you bring with you, and then your name. But today we're going to do it a little bit different to get to know each other and to continue to build connections. So today we're going to start with our name and our title, our aina, our place. And you're going to summarize in one word what you aim to gain from today's conference. So one word, which you aim to gain from today's conference. And as all educators do, I will model. My name is Carla De Leon. I'm a vice principal. My aina is wahiwa, and something that I hope to gain is improvement.
Well, that's a long list. You might have to help me. My name is Ross Roberts. I'm Vice President of Business Development and Partnerships with 806 Technologies. My place is here in Dallas, in Oak Point, Texas, which is about 25 minutes from here. Also, my place and the people that I am with is with the great team at 806 Technologies. I'm in a career change now, going from education to the private sector. And what I hope to learn from the summit is capacity.
Hello, everyone. Again, Mark Gervasio, vice principal. My aina is Waihoa, Hawaii. And for me is what is called ho'omau, is to continue what I learned today and put that in action. Mahalo.
I'm Leslie Lauder. I am from here. I'm from Prosper, which is about 15, 20 minutes north of here. I'm the Chief Academic Officer at 806, and what I hope to gain is learning.
Hi, I'm Stacy Brooks. I am the Math Instructional Dean at Lee High School in San Antonio, Texas, and my word is growth.
Hi, I'm Diana Diaz. I am a Continuous Improvement Specialist at Northside ISD and from San Antonio, and my word, I guess, is application.
My name is Christopher McCaskill. I am also from San Antonio. I work in Northside Independent School District alongside this wonderful lady, Deanna, and continuous improvement specialist. And I would say my word is wisdom. I hope to glean wisdom from this conference.
Hi, I'm Misty Reshort. I'm the principal at Lisa Park Elementary in Houma, Louisiana. My word, I know it might be copying, but it is growth.
Good morning. My name is Nikki Fungi. I am a principal of an elementary school in Houma, Louisiana, and my word is also new perspective and ideas to think about and grow with.
Hi, my name is Michelle Chasson. I'm an assistant principal at an elementary school in Houma. These are my people. My word is ideas.
Good morning. My name is Baxter Kahn, and I'm going to break things up a little bit. I'm from California, specifically from Los Angeles. And so my word would be friendships, building new friends, making new friends.
Good morning. I'm Lindsay Mitchell. I'm from the Madison Metropolitan School District in Madison, Wisconsin. And I would say my word is looking for new ideas.
My name is TJ McCrae. I am also from Madison Metropolitan School District in Madison, Wisconsin, where I'm the deputy superintendent. And my word would be growth as well.
Nona shiaka yamaki apie. My name is Nona Shiaka. I'm from the Sisitin Wapatin Oyate, representing the Tioshbazina Tribal School. I'm the new gifted and talented director, and I'm on the school improvement team. And today I hope to gain inspiration.
I'm Candace Burns. I'm an assistant principal in Weaver, Alabama, and my word is knowledge.
Aloha kakayaka. My name's Dale Castro. I come from Mililani, Hawaii, on the island of Oahu, and I'm really excited about getting perspective.
My name is Matt Ashley. I'm Chief Information Officer at 806 Technologies from Dallas, just about 15 minutes down the tollway. And my word is also educational perspective.
My name is Deborah Nelson. I am from Tahlequah, Oklahoma. I work as a junior senior counselor at a boarding school for Native American students, and my word is improvement.
Hello, my name is Clay Lauder, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer at 806 Technologies, and I'm from Salina, which is just north of here. Past a couple cows, you'll see my house. And my word is friends as well.
Hi, I'm Michelle Turner, and it's weird to have a microphone. Normally I'm pretty loud without one, but I'll do this. So I'm Michelle Turner. I'm with Region 10 ESC. I am the District Engagement Consultant in our Data Solutions Department, and I live in Saxe, which is between Wiley and Garland. If you know those cities, we kind of fit right there in the middle, and my word is understanding.
Hi, I'm Amanda Wallace. I'm the Texas Instructional Leadership Lead for Region 17. I also serve on the school improvement team, and we're located in Lubbock, Texas, so up kind of towards the Panhandle, and I am here to gain resources.
Hi, my name is Justin Richardson. I work in leadership development. My place is Canyon, Texas, up in the Panhandle. Clay, that's where the rest of the cows are. And I'm just hoping to make connections.
My name is Julie Smith, and I'm the Texas Virtual Academy at Hallsville Coordinator in Hallsville Independent School District. It's about an hour between Tyler and Shreveport, if that helps, on I-20. And we're the largest virtual school in Texas. And my word, I didn't realize it till earlier today, but it's renewal and rejuvenation, 2 words.
Thank you so much for participating in this Aloha Circle. This will be great for the connections that we make today. So when we have our think time later on today, we'll be able to connect on the one word and see how we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark and Carla. Well, good morning. You know, we couldn't come all the way from Hawaii and not give you folks a little bit of the flavor of Hawaii. So on your table, got a little pineapple, but definitely, you know, thank you for Mark and Carla for sharing a little bit of our culture. And so we really appreciate you being here. So Today, we're going to share a little bit of a story, I guess, if you will, of a journey that we've been on with a school called Wahiawa Middle School. It's a middle school in the middle. If any of you have been to Hawaii before and you're driving to the famed North Shore, you are going to pass the Wheeler Air Force Base and Schofield Army Base. On the right-hand side is going to be this town called Wahiawa. It's a rural town, and this is where Wahiawa Middle School is nestled. It's a beautiful community. It was an old plantation community. So, but the school has struggled. It struggled for not a year, not for 5 years, but for decades. And what does struggle mean? Well, it's been having difficulties with achievement, difficulties with attaining and retaining staff. The perception of the school is not very favorable. Parents, if they have an opportunity, will try to bypass this middle school. They'll go to the elementary feeder schools, try to find a way around the middle school, and then go back to the high school, because the high school has a long legacy and history, right? So a lot of pride in the community, but the middle school struggled. Last year, we were fortunate to be one of some participants that came to the inaugural conference, and we brought a team of 10 people from the school. Well, it's a combination of district folks and people from the school. But our goal for attending the conference was really to learn, to plan, and to bond. So that was our goal. We knew we wanted to look at what we could do to embark on this journey of continuous improvement. So that's last year, right? Here's some of our desired outcomes for this morning. We hope it resonates with you. There's 3 phases that we've been going, well, we started the first and second phase of this work, and we're entering what we're referring to as phase 3, so we hope to share about that. We really want to be transparent about the work. The work, as you know, in continuous improvement is not always linear, doesn't always go exactly how you plan it, but it's important work. And how do we define what a win is? We hope to be very candid about some of what we feel are wins and some of the growth and learning that we experienced. And number 3 is, I think, the most important, right? Is to network and to learn from each other and continue to foster these relationships so we can support our staff, our students, our communities even better. A little bit about my journey, and I won't share too much other than that this is my 33rd year in education. And I look back here, and I've been an administrator for 27 of those years, and the only reason I point that out is 1998, when I was in the administrative training program, my daughter was 4 days old. So I know I have the 2 dads back there, and we were talking about being young dads, but I was in the administrative training program, writing all my papers, and we have a boot camp. You guys all know about that boot camp for administrative training, which is 2 weeks of basically hell. And I would go to boot camp, come home, say hi to the family, and go upstairs and write my papers. And my daughter's four days old, but she just recently graduated from dental school. So I'm so excited about, I wasn't that bad of an absentee parent. So, so we did some things, and so I'm currently now the complex academic officer in the state of Hawaii. For those of you who don't know, Hawaii is the only single school district in our nation. So we are about 259 schools strong, and we're broken up, if you visualize like a pizza, our state is broken up into 15 slices of pizza. Our area is called the Leilehua Mililani Wailua Complex area. We're one of the 15 pizza slices. And there's 20 schools that comprise our complex area. And we have a complex area superintendent. So some of the certifications, and I think that was shared already, embarrassingly, but I'll point out that, have anybody heard about the Berkman method? They actually are in Houston. And to me, it's the gold standard of, well, some people call it a personality inventory, but this is some of the work that I've been endeavoring in how to self-discover, so a lot of times, right, and I'll speak more about it a little further on in the presentation, but self-diagnosis isn't always accurate. So having some of these tools to triangulate information really helps. I point this out because this is an important component of how we operate as a complex area. I call it the leadership framework. So if you take a look across the top, there's 4 different types of leadership. So at any school, I think we will capture everybody that works in a school or works with this school. So here, these are your administrator types, right? They're responsible for providing leadership that impacts a wide array of individuals, right? You hear a lot about the impact of the research around how valuable the teacher is in terms of school improvement and school outcomes. And that's true, it's 100% accurate, it is. But what we need to also acknowledge is that it's for that 1 year. So when you look at John Hattie's work and so forth and so on, right, it's for that 1 year. The administrator has a lot of lasting impact, positive and sometimes even detrimental at times. Teacher leadership are those people that primarily conduct work with adults. So they may work with kids once in a while, occasionally, but primarily they work with other adults. Maybe some of you are in that capacity when I listen to your roles. The other area, and these are the teacher types, right? These are the people that work primarily 99.9% of the time with students. These are our champions. My wife's a kindergarten teacher. She's an instructional leader. And then operational leadership, those that support educational operations. So I point this out because whenever we endeavor into something that is important, we reference this leadership framework to make sure that we're addressing the right audience the right way. Because we all are connected systematically, right? System independence, right? We're independent, but we're also systemically connected. So this is the leadership framework. And I'm working on this piece right now because we can't forget the students, right? So it's coming soon. Collegial coaching. As it was shared, I've had the privilege now from probably about 2009, 10, somewhere in that neighborhood, working as a turnaround specialist, and then I worked on my dissertation, was all about coaching principles. And I had the privilege now I've worked with over 20 principals. 3 have become state, national recognized, distinguished principals. And, it's just been great working with principals from a perspective, like we all need that objective perspective, I guess, if you will, viewpoint. When you're in the midst, I think, Leslie, you were talking about this morning, where when you're in the midst of it, sometimes, you don't always get to see things as with an unbiased eye. So being a collegiate coach allows me to provide another perspective, and I'll share more about that a little bit. But this is how I define it. I'll give you an opportunity to take a look. It's very much not, well, let me share it this way. It's intentional and systematic work. So there's a process, there's a protocol, there's planning involved with this. It's not just, I'll call you on the phone when I need your help, although that happens. This process is very framework driven, with purpose and hopefully with heart. What it's not, and that's why I call it collegial, I don't hold positionality from the perspective of evaluatory responsibility. That is for the superintendent. So I'm a colleague, and that's established right off the bat. That we're here to work together. I may have a different perspective that may support you. I may have some experiences that may be able to contribute to your work, but I'm not your boss. Although some may disagree at times. So a lot of times these two terms get tossed around, right? Mentoring, coaching. I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. Well, the research kind of shares a little bit, right? There's definitely some overlap here, right? Both powerful tools for professional growth. But essentially, mentoring is where the mentee is seeking advice, and the sage, wise, usually more experienced mentor will kind of share, hey, this is what I've done in the past, and you can learn from me, you know. Very encouraging work. So that's more the mentoring element. The coach, though, is really focused on skill development, getting into the dynamics that interface and will assist the principal with skill development in the context, in my definition, in the context of that principal's school. So you need to be immersed in understanding what's happening in this school. So it's very practitioner-based, and that's the coaching element. So mentoring, coaching, they're not mutually exclusive, but sometimes you hear these terms getting tossed around synonymously. But I wanted to differentiate. You may have seen this from your Psych 100 classes taken in college, right? It's called the Johari window. Right here, right, it's known by self, known to others. Here, known by self, unknown to others. Unknown by self, but known to everybody else. And here is unknown to all, right? This might be a little easier to relate to, though. I created this and I adapted it from that Johari window. And it really is a process of improving communication through the exchange of knowledge, right? So if you look at this continuum, it goes from being safe to a lot more risky. And what I mean by that is, if we have shared knowledge, which we hope today will establish, we're in a safe zone here. You know, I know. We're pretty comfortable, right? That's where we want to be. But sometimes there's things that I know and no one else knows. So we're getting a little bit more risky. But here's where it gets really dangerous at times. I'm operating not knowing, but everybody else knows. It's a blind spot to me. And if we're really being honest, we all have blind spots. We have our own biases. We know what we know and we know what we don't know, but others know a lot more. And that's why teaming and conferences like this, and I like the boutique model, because we get to exchange information and hopefully in this knowledge continuum, get to the point where we're not here, not known, right? It's high risk there. I share all this because this is part of the collegial coaching model that I apply when I work with principals. And again, this is just a sample of the tools that help to guide the planning. There's always going to be some reflective questioning. We're going to diagnose systems of practice. A big and major part of the work is being in classrooms and seeing firsthand what is happening. Perspective. Developing long-term goals and short-term objectives. Having a sense of urgency around the priorities that we determine, and we're focusing on outcomes and assessing effectiveness. So this is a tool that helps us plan this out. Here's an array of some of the topics. So these are some of the themes: school leadership, school design, system development, improving student achievement, social emotional learning, community relations, and political duties. As an administrator, it's very important, right? And just some of the areas there. It's not meant to be exhaustive at all. I'm sure we could add many other things here, but it gives us an idea of some of the array of responsibilities school leaders have, right? It's a lot. It's comprehensive. So when I work with individuals, it can range from being extremely comprehensive, where I'm working on their campus almost 3 to 5 days a week, immersed, right? Sometimes there's supervisor intervention, so it wasn't a choice by the individual. It was, hey Dale, can you work with so-and-so? Gotcha, right? But sometimes it's more targeted. There's an area that we're trying to focus upon, so it's very targeted work. It might be maybe a subgroup that we're trying to improve upon. And then there's this independent work. So the range of the collegiate coaching experience comes from this mindset, right? There's principals that may need, or maybe it's not maybe the principal, maybe the school is more comprehensive in need, and then some of their needs are targeted or intermittent. But I just share that as a way to set the background for the work that we've done specifically at Wahiawa Middle School. We refer to this as phase 1. These are the crucial steps that we did. We heard this morning how essential it is to do a comprehensive needs assessment. Needed to establish protocols with the complex area superintendent. And I just will add, I was asked to work with this school like 4 or 5 times with the previous superintendent, our current superintendent, and I always declined, and not because I wasn't ready. I didn't feel the superintendent was ready. Because this kind of work, especially how I was going to approach it, they needed to do their job as a superintendent by being the evaluator, because I needed to maintain that collegial relationship to be able to be honest with the principal, and honestly, at times, be honest with the superintendent what I would recommend would be needed. So we made sure we went through these 6 steps, and we'll go into more detail. We needed to address the elephant in the room. Think about it now. If you're the principal of a school, and now all of a sudden you're told that a school improvement team is going to come, Dale is going to be the school improvement team leader, how might you feel? How might your staff react? So we needed to address that elephant in the room. And we did. So we created these coordinated steps. Again, I needed to make sure the superintendent and I were on the same page with the approach that we're going to apply, that he understood the process that we would utilize and what his role would be. And that's tough, right? Telling your boss, hey, we need you on board. But we did do that, and he was fantastic. We created a school improvement team that comprised of district folks, school staff, and contracted vendors. And then we created these review schedules, but the goal was always about gradual release. And the mantra that I always share is, we need to promote understanding first so that we can get to the ownership, to get to that gradual release. So we did our comprehensive needs assessment. We did some paper reviews. There was lots of data, as you folks know. Schools and school systems have lots of data to look at. We looked at accreditation reports. We looked at state testing. We looked at perception data. And we started to categorize that information into different headings, right? Special education, student intervention, sense of belonging, school. These themes started to emerge. These are some of the reports that we have in our state, right? Some formative data, some attendance data, some student perception data. You know, every district, every school has different tools and assessments that they utilize. It was all paper review, before we even started to engage with the staff and the school. So we started to look at this, but then you notice here, I left this side blank, even though we started to find some really strong themes coming up, but I wanted to make sure we left space for the school and others to be able to share their point of view. We wanted to triangulate their perspective. Our superintendent is from the area. He attended this school, so his heart is really to help and improve this school. So he had motivation, and he shared this, right? We have a responsibility, there's some momentum happening, let's continue it, but success is the only option, right? So we had his backing. Theory of action, sounds familiar? I think we heard a little bit about this morning. Well, this is our theory of action. I'll just give you a second to read it. So a couple important themes, right, is building internal capacity with a clear strategy and a gradual release model. What that implies, though, is that there's going to be some autonomy taken away from the school. If you're going to release gradually, that means you took back, right? So we needed to make that clear. That was the elephant in the room. So I put together a team, and this is a team, and we were really clear. We're going to assess what is occurring, what needs to be adjusted, what needs to be stopped, right? Leslie shared a little bit about that this morning too, right? Sometimes it's just stopping what's not good, right? And then what might need to be added. So really simple, but we want it to be clear. We want it to be explicit. We didn't want to sugarcoat the work. So these were the three themes that we ultimately settled on distilling: governance, curriculum instruction assessment, student interventions, and a sense of belonging. Special education was part of student interventions and a sense of belonging. That was a huge area of need for this school. Some of the practices. So these are some of the things that we addressed. And it was really important for us, if we're trying to build capacity with the school, our district team had to partner with the school team. So we identified school team members as well as school improvement team members. And we worked together to help to make this work doable by chunking the areas of focus. So very deliberately, we assessed how we're going to arrange the work. And we ultimately set these school-wide targets. We're looking at proficiency on the Smarter Balance Assessment, science proficiency, absenteeism, attendance, and sense of belonging. We set some targets, right? So we looked at the data, we looked at the number of students, we looked at percentages, we looked at what would be doable with a stretch, right? And then we distilled it to every class period, to every teacher. So nobody was anonymous at this school, which was the case before. So we had targets, we had a review process set up, we had teams that were looking at it collaboratively. And this is our goal, though. We really want Waihewa Middle School to be the bridge between the feeder elementary schools and our high school. The community, parents, and staff will have confidence in school, and students will thrive. That was our mission. So this was all phase one. And phase one started last school year, not this past school year, from January till May. So we started in the spring of last school year. Now we're entering phase two. Phase two gets exciting. right? It's a new principal that was hired. So this all work happened with a different principal, not Principal Bennett. Principal Bennett now gets into the picture. He was hired. He stepped up, right? So these are some of the things we did. But we know that this is so important. Principal leadership matters, right? We know. But let's make sure the research backs and validates that, right? Principal leadership matters. Teacher leadership matters a lot. Instructional leadership, the teachers working with the students, matters immensely. But principal leadership, it's hard to get anything done well in a sustained manner, whether it be through curriculum, whether it be through finance, community relations, discipline, all of those important categories that school governance entails without an effective principal. This is very difficult. The research backs that up. So here we go. This man, Mr. Sam Bennett, talked about what is the standard of excellence here at Wahioa Middle School. And this picture was his first assembly. He came on probably the end of March, coming into the new school, new principal, not knowing the staff, not knowing the culture really of the school. He walked in and he said, I want to do a school assembly. I want to make sure the students understand what my core values are, what I believe, and how much I care about this school and this community. And he had this assembly in the play court, and let me give you some context. Prior assemblies was chaotic. Teachers wouldn't listen. Some would show up. Some teachers would bring their classes, some wouldn't. Students would be very unruly. But I was here this day, and I got to witness Principal Bennett talking to the staff, which 100% of them showed up, and talking to the students, and how he personalized his commitment to the staff and to the students. And it was, you could hear a pin drop. He captivated the audience. So we're very excited that Principal Bennett is the new principal of Wahioa Middle School, and I'd like to introduce him right now. Can you help me?
Aloha, everyone. Thank you very much. Very lucky to be here, very privileged to work with Dr. Castro. As you can tell, he has just plethora of experiences as an administrator, and is very lucky to work with him. And just in this situation, this turnaround situation with Wahioa Middle School, you know, the support is needed. I have to say that. But this question, what is our standard of excellence? We worked on this question as just a broad strokes question we can ask, but you know, in looking what Leslie Lauder was saying this morning, you have to have a focus, you have to know where you're going, you have to have a plan. So if you can't say what that excellence looks like, you know, we aren't going to reach it. You know, I appreciate you sharing that, because that's what we're working through right now at Wahioa Middle School. Okay? So this is me, my first month on the job. You're meeting Ocean and Kamalani here. So my background, I wanted to bring care to Wahioa Middle School. I was previously 6 years at an elementary school, one of the feeders to Wahioa Middle School, Ka'ala Elementary School. And we heard all of the bad stories about the middle school. Middle schools get a bad rap, and Wahioa Middle School got it. I mean, we're talking for decades. People have called the school the black hole, and I hated that name. So, and I still do. But being here at the middle school, you know, we have to work on change. So my background, I was a wrestling coach after high school. I was in college working on an English degree, and I enjoyed working with students, working with high school students in wrestling. So I figured, hey, let's parlay that into teaching. So I was an English teacher at high school and middle school, and I was curious about leadership as well. So that's part of my journey. Okay. So 6 years at the elementary, I worked with Dale already with the collegial coaching there, and he's the one who approached me with the middle school ID. But working with these kids, I got to reunite with kids that I had at the elementary school level, and one thing I do extremely care about is, what's happening with the kids. So these guys grew up with challenges. I knew their challenges, uniquely theirs, and they were thriving at the middle school, so I was very happy to see that. So coming in, when Dale said I had my assembly, I talked about 3 priorities. Okay, the first is care. Students need to be prepared for learning. Okay, socio-emotionally, with resources, sometimes with nourishment, with food. So we brought in PCNCs, parent liaisons, okay, but essentially they're there to take care of the kids. So I have 2 of them. They have a portable, they have food, they have supplies, they have everything that the kids need. Okay, school environment. Everybody deserves a refreshed, safe environment, innovative as well, and I'll show you some pictures there. And lastly, the student achievement, those data pieces Dale was sharing. Our students deserve to be learning and achieving at or near grade level, okay? All right, one thing we worked on is systems. Now, for me to come in and work on all the systems in the school is daunting, okay? But working with the school improvement team and Dr. Castro, it's really helped us organize and focus what we're working on as a school. One is a governance structure and how we roll out initiatives, systems, and strategies at our school. So we start with smaller groups, administrators, 12-month leader team. Okay, we go to the core team, and then we take it to the team leaders and department heads, and then we work on the whole school. Okay? Along this process, I give input, and also I receive input from the teachers, from the teacher leaders regarding the different initiatives. It depends. If it's a big enough initiative, we also include the school community council, which consists of community members, parents, and also certified and classified staff. Okay? Every week I do a bulletin. This started when I was at the elementary school, and we continued it at the middle school, at Wahila Middle School. It's been the most consistent thing I've done there at the school, and it really is a positive for me because it helps me plan for the upcoming week and the following week. So I do have a calendar included there. I have my priority areas as well. So care, school environment. I'll show you guys an example. Care, school environment, and student achievement are all highlighted in the newsletter. The principal's opening message, when I create my newsletter, I do that last because it's a summary of what I'm writing about. There's an achievement data piece called the scorecard. And lastly, that closing message, that what is our standard of excellence section. Okay, here's some examples of my newsletters. Bottom right, let me see if I can do this. Right over here, you see Miss Matheson. She's one of our English language teachers. She's having fun at bingo night with our families. They're also enjoying dinner and working on reading strategies as well. Okay, you're gonna see Purple Up Week in honor of our military families. Okay, some of you guys might be familiar with that. Happens in April, and I wanted to highlight how we're working with it. You might see a familiar face here. You see Mr. Javasio right here. This is us having some fun at the assembly, the ramp up for our SBA or our assessment week during April. Okay, now we're gonna go through Dale's gonna run through an example here. This is my newsletter from January. Okay, so it's called the Lancer Weekly. I like to highlight classroom observations, or when I go through the classrooms. We are able to go through the classrooms, but regrettably I wasn't able to go through, or we weren't able to go through as much as we wanted to. So that's going to be a focus of this upcoming school year. Okay, so this is the opening. I try and focus on something, a short story if a student shares something with me. In this one, the student was sharing something about iReady. Okay, she remembered, Mr. Bennett, are you going to talk to us about iReady again? I was like, music to my ears. She remembered. And she was a tough challenge student, but that's okay. She remembered some of our messages that we had in elementary, and I wanted to point that out to the faculty and staff. This is the calendar section. Okay, if you could stop right there, Dale. You see on there, this is not our usual week. We do participate with the Marzano Associates. So every month and a half approximately, they would come down, an associate would come down for 2 days and work with us. Our connection was Melanie McGee, so she came down for 2 days, Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we had a schedule. We would go observe classes, and then she would work with the team planning. And I'll cover that in a second. Okay, so scrolling down, I share pictures about the week, pictures in the week in review. We have sports. We also have more teachers in the observations, students having fun, and what's going on in the classroom. The newsletter allows me to highlight what I want the teachers to focus on. If I know there's a strategy we've been working on for NASOT or the Marzano Associates, we can focus on that. So scrolling down, teachers in action, we have our chorus teacher, the play court there, Hawaiiana. I mean, I just try to show as many examples as I can in that newsletter. Okay, then we have my 3 priority areas, care, we have the school environment, as well as the student achievement, and I give examples of each. Here we have district personnel, district behavior health specialists sharing with our faculty, so I wanted to highlight that. In terms of school environment, although we fought hard in our basketball games, it was tough. We lost that week, 2 out of 3, I believe, but I wanted to highlight the effort that the coaches and the athletes had made. Lastly, we had student achievement. With our visits to the classrooms, and talking to the teachers, there were innovations that they had used during COVID that had carried over to their teaching following. Okay. Second to last, we got the scorecard. So I'll give a data piece. Here I say 28 teachers were observed and different things that we had observed in the classrooms. And lastly, what is our standard of excellence? This gives me, like I said, something we want to focus on. Mr. Gervasio here had visited the Cunha Farms, which is a neighboring farm area or agriculture area. And agriculture is a program we need to focus on at my school. I have a garden that doesn't look like a garden right now, but it's something we're going to be working on, something we're going to be focusing on. So I wanted to highlight that so people could see it. Okay? All right, thank you, Dale. Okay, I know I mentioned the team structure, so this is team planning. Our school is 3 grade levels, 6, 7, and 8 as a middle school. Each grade level has about 240 to 260 students. So to make those groups smaller, easier to work with, we broke down each grade level into 2 teams. So there's 2 teams of 5 to 6 teachers each in each grade level. And then there's 1 team made up of elective teachers. So your fine arts teachers, your PE teachers, your art teacher, chorus and band, they're in there as well. So those are the electives. Okay, there's an agenda for each team planning meeting, and they meet twice a week, 50 minutes twice a week. Okay, these are the topics of discussion here. Okay. Of course, we have student discussions. So lesson planning is a little harder, the lesson planning, but we use the templates from the New Art and Science of Teaching. I'll go over that in a second, the detail of what that entails. But it allows a common language of learning for us. I'll go over that in a second, sorry. We also go over data reviews. How are the students doing on the team? So that's covered in the meetings, and they can also discuss students of concern and students who are doing well and why. Okay. We also have discussions around behaviors, students' behaviors, and that's an important piece because we have a lot of brand new teachers on campus, and those conversations help them in their management of the students. All right. Updating pacing, guys. That's something we're continuing to work on. Is having common assessments. I mean, that's a piece that's needed to have those conversations around students. And the last part is also formalizing our syllabus. So what does our syllabus look like? What is that criteria? And we look at exemplars through that team planning time. Okay, school environment. This is a value of mine. Our students deserve to have a clean, healthy, and refreshed campus. When I came onto campus at Wahoo Middle School, beautiful resources. I'm going to tell you. I don't know if you've ever been to Central Oahu. Beautiful area, but it's an old school, so the facilities need updating, and some of that had not been done. So that's something we're still in the process of doing. You see that play court? This is the assembly. Okay, almost that's about 680 students together. We have a gym. Kids love to work out, right? So we have a bunch of athletes in Wahiawa. And then this example here is our mock-up, or what we wanted our Lancer Student Center to look like. I'll show you some examples of that. Okay? Just upgrading. Sometimes it's as simple as painting. So this is our foundation for our flagpole. Just adding some paint, talk to the custodians. This took a little more doing. These are our awnings at the front of campus. This was added because it rains a lot in Wahiawa. It really does. So the kids needed covering while they wait for the bus and for their parents. Okay? Walking around campus, I came to campus with my Hydro Flask, looking to fill up with water. Lo and behold, there was no place to fill up with water. So we gave Hydro Flasks out to the students, and we put in 4 water filling stations. So that's important. You know, the kids don't ask as much, oh, can I go drink water? Losing classroom time. They have their Hydro Flasks and they're good to go in the classroom. Okay, when I first got onto campus, there were over 200 broken down chairs, 2 golf carts broken down in the cafeteria stored. Those are remnants, as you guys can probably relate, remnants of COVID. So with the movement of all the furniture, it never had moved back. So what we did was we talked to the custodians. Over spring break, we came up with a plan and we cleared that cafeteria out. Okay, the kids deserve it. Okay, this picture over here you can see was that bingo night where we had the event, where we hold events in the cafeteria. So it's a lot more accommodating for our families. All right, school space is upgraded for enhanced teaming. Tell you a little story. So these 3 boys, this is before we renovated the library. Okay, I got a call on my walkie in the morning. I was walking around campus in the morning. I get a call on my walkie. Mr. Bennett, we have 3 boys who need a space to do a review for a test they want to take. Can you imagine I got a call for that on the radio? So they couldn't figure out to find a space for these kids. So I said, how about we put them in the library? We put them in the library, and here they were. Nobody was with them. Okay? Nobody was with them, but they're there. I said, let's put them in the library. I said, we got to do something about this. We have to have something provided. Of course, kids like to walk around. They like to be in the play court in the meeting. Some kids need to do their homework. Some kids need to do reviews. So we provided. So this is the library now. This is now the Lancer Student Center. This is what the space looks like. We have our librarians there available for them. We also have gaming for kids who like that. I put this picture in because this person right here with the hat, that's Mr. Agena. He's a PE teacher, but he's also participating with the kids, having fun. I know nothing about games, but I'll watch it and participate with the kids just to have fun with them. Okay? This is the Lancer Student Center. It's also meeting space for the teachers. And this is a revamped space we have in B3. It's for those team planning meetings. So again, refresh spaces. I went in there were all these poles because it used to be a computer lab. I said, oh, we have to make sure the spaces are amenable and ready for what they're intended for. So if it's for teacher meetings, we clear out the space, make it best for the teachers or whoever's using the space. Okay, now we have that new art and science of teaching. This was really important. This was vetted with Dr. Castro, and we talked to the Marzano Associates. There's a big, thick resource book we use with teaching strategies and elements in it. And it's very important and vital for our school to have this resource because we have so many new teachers, okay? 20+% new teachers this school year, and we're looking at a big turnover this coming school year as well. So this provides a foundational language of instruction for us. Along with this, we have the visitors. Every month and a half, we have a visitor. The Marzano Associate comes for 2 days, and this is what we worked on. This school year, we chose to work on chunking activities. Okay, we also did processing activities, those you're familiar with, recording and representation of content. Middle school, they need wait time, and they also need that physical movement. So teachers, how can we use 4 corners? How can we use different strategies to get them moving? And of course, increasing responses. So this template was created for lesson plans, and the teachers provided, I believe it was 6 templates this school year they filled out 6 templates using these different strategies. And then we went in the classroom to observe them as well. So it gave us a focus on what we're going to do with the new art and science of teaching. And we're planning to continue that again this coming school year. Okay? Induction and mentoring is big on our campus, of course, with all these new teachers. Every new teacher has a mentor. They meet with the mentors on their own, as well as we have planned, we also have district mentors who come to work on rituals and routines. They also talk about classroom management with our new teachers. It's very important to us, okay? Because if you look at the numbers, 22 of our teachers this school year were brand new, okay? 19 of which don't have a teaching license. If you're familiar with Teach for America, we're big partners with them as well, okay? This last bullet over here was probably our biggest challenge this school year. So of all our teachers, of 56 teachers, 10 of them either left, okay, took leave, or were out on directed leave this school year, okay? So imagine that, 10 gone. We replaced 2. So the last good part of the second semester, we were out 8 teachers every day. We had to fill in with substitute teachers, okay? So imagine that. That's before anybody called in sick. So we had days with 15 or 16 teachers out of our 56. So if you look at quality instruction, it really put a damper on it. I see a lot of heads nodding because it's very hard to push forward with this situation. So it's something we're planning for this next school year. Okay, so that's this next box over here. We already hired over 10 teachers. I think it's up to 12 now, and we have 5 to 6 new teachers to hire for this coming school year. We're still in the process. I'm still getting messages from my vice principal who's at the school now. We're lining up interviews already. So we're hopeful to fill in those positions with more, and then working on that, I know Dale talked about it, that sense of belonging. That's something very vital to what we need to work on as a school, to retain teachers and to get them there daily. Okay, one thing Dale helped me with in this regard specifically was, you heard him say, nobody should remain anonymous. So there are teachers who are taking leave. I mean, I had a teacher by the end of second quarter, she had been out 50 days already. 50 days, and not in a row. She was out 1 to 2 days a week at least, and intermittently. It really put a strain on us as a school. So in working with Dr. Castro, he said, you got to have a support meeting. So we sat down, we reviewed, we went over how many absences the teacher had, what days she was absent, and then the support came. Okay, what's going on with you? What's your situation? Okay, so we had that conversation. Is there something we can do to help you? And she point blank, she said, do I need to bring my union in? I said, that's up to you, but this is what we want to do to support you. So calling that support meeting, and truly being a support meeting, but also bringing out, it really does affect our students and their learning. So that's why we brought it out. And since then, we've had multiple of these support meetings with different faculty and staff. It's not just teachers, but staff as well, just to bring it out. Hey, what's going on with you? Just to let them know that we know what's going on. Yeah, and how can we help them? Okay, still lots of work to do. At one of the PLTs, so we were lucky enough to have Miss Leslie Lauder at one of our PLT meetings, at our PLT 1, our first one, where we were creating our comprehensive needs assessment as a school. On our third meeting, we brought a team of school leaders to the meeting. And I said, okay, we're looking at 8 problem areas, including teacher retention. I said, what do you guys want to focus on? That by far was what they wanted to focus on, right here. Retain staff to increase continuity, okay? And you know what they also said? Looking at the data, Sam, we're tired of being at the bottom. That's straight from the teachers. We're tired of being at the bottom every time they show data. Oh, that was music to my ears, right? I don't like to see it either. So what are we going to do? They said, well, we got to focus on keeping the teachers there and the teachers modeling what a team should be. They said that. They said, we can't just be a team in name only, because we have the function of the team, but we don't have the essence of the team. So that's right here, hui kapili. They said, we're going to come together, unite together. Another meaning to hui kapili is mending together. And that is a part of what our school needs as well. Wahiawa Middle School does need to mend as well. Healing. So that is our plan for next school year. It's not an event at the beginning of the year. It's continued series of teams planning and sharing at each faculty meeting. So it's going to be alive and well at each of our faculty meetings. Okay? Increasing performance on school targets. I wasn't able to share because I was videoing when we were doing the circle, but my word for this coming school year is going to be focus. We're going to be focusing on different areas. I'm going to be focusing on special education, on student behaviors to allow for our academic team to do their work as well. Okay? We want to decrease student behaviors, as I said, and work on the teacher retention. Okay? Some of the data shared. Okay, this is shared, so focuses that Dale shared this, chronic absenteeism. That means 15 or more school days out per school year. Okay, I think we were right about 30 at end of year. So I believe we were a little under our target. Attendance rate, this is a daily rate. Okay, 90% has gone up a bit. We used the Panorama survey for social emotional learning, as well as sense of belonging. Our numbers have gone up, but they're still low. So when we talk about student numbers as well as faculty staff numbers, we see increases, but the numbers are still low. So we do need to continue to work on that. Okay, proficiency data. Okay, you see that with cohorts, it has gone up, but not to where we want them yet. Okay, and I appreciate Dr. Castro pointing out the different cohorts, the classes, because nobody should remain anonymous. So we need to pinpoint where the teachers are, where the growth is, where it's not, and why. Look at why. Adjust to what we need to do. Okay? So we broke it down by ELA. So we look at our unofficial numbers so far. They're not where we want them to be, but then when, we have conversations, I have conversations with Dr. Castro, a big part of it is where was our personnel this school year? What were our challenges this school year? If we don't have a solid base of teachers, how can we increase the performance and achievement of the students? Okay, so it looks similar with ELA and math. Okay, we have science data as well. Okay, this has gone up. We had our second go of the science test for 8th graders, so that number has gone up. Okay? Still lots of work to do as a school. As you can imagine, coming in, turnaround situation it's complicated. There's so many systems we've been working on as a school. Dr. Castro and that academic team is going to help us organize, our work and what we're doing, help us focus. Okay? Number one, I still have to be present. Okay, some days we get bogged down on things that are going on. I still have to be on campus, be present for the students, let the faculty and staff know I'm still there. I have to make more observations, be in the classroom. That also helps with the student behaviors. For those of you who've been in the classrooms, the kids behave better. So that, shocker. But it really helps for us to be out there. Okay, and prioritizing the school and community events. I've tried to make as many of those community events as possible. It really makes a difference to be present and be out there as a face of Wahiawa Middle School. Okay, communication. This is something I definitely have to work on, being more focused, timely and effective communication with the community, ensure behavioral and academic needs are addressed. So still doing the touch points with the academics, but making sure that behaviors are addressed in a timely manner. Addressed quickly with the vice principals and myself. In talking about support meetings for the teachers, continuing that, but triaging quickly when needed. I'm not going to wait till the teacher's out 50 times to have that conversation. Actually, she transferred out. We wish her the best, but we're moving forward. Yeah, certainly. Lastly, with excellence, Our students deserve to learn and achieve at grade level. Okay? We cannot say, oh, Wahiawa Middle School has always been that way. I hate that phrase. Okay? Because that's something we're working on breaking through, moving up for the kids. Because the kids tell us, hey, Mr. Bennett, you know our school is ghetto, right? They told me that. I don't hear that anymore. Okay? Because of the efforts that we're doing. Okay? So this is our work. This is what we're working on. But when I look at moving forward, it's very encouraging to know that we have a team to work with. We're very proud to add Carla De Leon. She's going to be our academic vice principal because we don't have coaches right now as a school, curriculum coaches. So in that absence, she'll be filling in that role and working directly with the teachers on that. So we'll be continuing that. So thank you guys for your time. Where are we now, Dr. Castro? Phase 3 is this next school year.
Yeah, that's a big job, right? He's done a great job. It's a daunting task, and some days I think he's questioned the decision to be at a middle school, but he's the right man for the job. His heart is evident; you can see it, right? So the work is complicated, right? So we've been working on two things. We've been working on processes and performance, both. Most schools get to focus on performance. But in this school, we needed to get those systems in place. We needed to make sure the processes are happening the right way so that we can get to the performance, right? We need to build the infrastructure. So what we're trying to do now, phase 2 was all about last year. Entering this year, we learned a lot from the experience, right? Being a reflective practitioner. So we are very fortunate to have Carla De Leon joining the Wahiawa Middle School team. She was the vice principal at one of our top performing middle schools in our state. Military impacted community, and now she's going to move over to Wahiawa Middle School, who is not the lowest performing school in our state, but definitely the lowest performing school in our area. Very different demographics, and she's willing to come on board. And this is the reason why we created this academic vice principal position, is that in a middle school, especially where the school is at the moment, the number of times that the administrators get called out of academic meetings when they're sitting and working in professional learning communities with the teachers, they get called out for so many different things. It was untenable for them to keep up with the myriad of things that they needed to address. So we're creating an academic team that will be headed by Carla. So she will focus 75% of her time on academic responsibilities. The other 25% she has to help and fill in with the administrative team. So we're trying to separate the duties between the principal and, let's be honest, they have 3 additional vice principals. So total of 4 vice principals and 1 principal. Quite an investment here, right? But that's the commitment that I needed to make with our superintendent to say this is what we need to get over the hump. So this is what we're trying to do in phase 3, right? We're going to refine the teaming rituals. Like Sam said, we had the structure in place, but quite honestly, we need to have the practices happening now. So we're going to refine those. We're having a leadership retreat with the school leaders when we get back in July. But this is what we're excited about. Utilizing Plan for Learning. Partnering with 806 Technologies, using Plan for Learning to look at our key indicators and then having formative review processes that we can capture our data, input the data, reflect on the data, and apply our next step actions and make our corrections in real time. We really are excited about this tool. Some of you may be already using it. It's new for us. But we're going to be able to archive our efforts and share the efforts because I'm going to be real. With this much, the investment that we're putting in, there's expectations. There's expectations. So we'll be able to document our efforts, share our efforts along the way, and be able to demonstrate the hard work that we know has been happening, but have it documented. So we're excited about that. And we have our accreditation review coming up in the spring. So all of this is all going to help support that effort. So we're really excited about the work. It's hard work. Being a school administrator or working in schools is hard work. I know some of you mentioned that you have school accountability roles, right? We want to be not just accountable, but we also want to be responsible. So we're excited about where we're at. So to end, this is how we're saying. We want to be asking this all the time. How are students doing? How are the teachers and staff doing? And to what degree are we supporting them? And how effective are we at it? So this is our commitment as a school community here. And the work continues. It's continuous improvement, right? So thank you. So I think we're about time. Okay. So we have this shared with you here, right? And we just summarize some of the efforts that we've done. But we wanted to give you a time to think and maybe share and talk about things to the extent you're comfortable. Was there anything that you want to know more about? You know, we talked a lot. I'm sorry about that. We didn't model middle school practices as effectively as we could have. Sorry. We tried to, but is there an experience, strategy, or problem you can connect with that's going on in your problem of practice or your work? How can we stay in touch? You know, it's not just come in and sit in and leave. Hopefully we can talk story a little bit. We call that, in Hawaii, we call it talking story. That's what we do. Some people may call it networking. Yeah. But we really appreciate your time and hope you can stick around. We'll talk story if you want to stay, but thank you so much.